You want one about the posse?
Posse.
I told you he was alive!
Show you how to replace your 2010 to 2014 Chrysler 200 or Dodge Avenger intake manifold. I don't think this will work with the 2008 and 2010s because they have an intake manifold runner control which would go right here, and basically that's going to do is open the doors. So it might not work for you. We haven't figured out a way to make that work. So basically there's 5 bolts connected to the head, which are right there. All are fairly easy to get to if you have an extended ratchet. So here's the parts, the more important parts. This is going to have to be connected. Here's your map sensor, which you only have 1, but on the Lancer, the Evo has 2. I'm going to show you how to fix that. And you have these 2 air holes here. And then there's where your throttle body is going to connect. All the bolts in this manifold are small. A lot smaller than what you're going to have to replace with. Or I'm sorry, smaller. Here are the bolts that came off of the stock unit. Those bolts right there are for the manifold. These are going to have to be replaced, because the plastic manifold is so thick. You're going to need a shorter one because the metal one is a lot thinner. This is how long the stock ones were. This is about how short you need to go. There's a difference. This is a 25mm. You're going to need at least one of these. I believe this one is going to go dead center. Other than that, the other 2 you replace, the outside edges are going to be longer. And for those, you're going to want to use an M8, a 1.25 thread pitch, and you're going to go at least a 30mm. Make sure you get flanged. I picked these up at O'Reilly's. And this is the best route to go. Make sure it's flanged. Don't get anything else, because it will not sit right with the manifold. As far as replacing the throttle body, the holes on this obviously too are much more smaller. The ones on the Evos are a bit wider. Here's your stock throttle body bolt. You're going to replace that with something comparable, whatever you can find nearby, but that's about the ballpark you want to be in. And that's what they look like. You're going to need at least 4 of those. So now let's go pop over to the car and let's see what's going on over there. So in order to take the head bolts off of the head, you're going to do the double nut routine. It seems to work easy with what you have available without adding more tools. So you go ahead and just spin it like this. Put one upside down and one forward so they lock onto each other. And you're going to turn the one in the back. And I believe these are 10mm. So that's one thing you're going to have to do. You're going to have to do it to all 5 bolts, because you're going to have to replace every single one of them. Okay, so this will work on any PZEV model as well as federal models. So we have our 5 bolts that we have replaced. They're each all staggered over here. Alright, you're going to also need an Evo X intake manifold gasket. That's going to be something you're going to have to buy. I doubt you can see it, but somewhere in there, bit of gray at the end where the gasket's hanging out. On your throttle body, you're going to need a gasket. So just get an Evo X intake manifold or throttle body gasket. The bolts, these are the bolts that feed through. You probably could get away with 60 millimeters. I got 65 just to be sure. They don't hit the manifold, which is good. I was afraid they might go too long. On the throttle body, your stock throttle body, if you have a drill, you're gonna want to run it through it about the same diameter as the bolt, just so it helps widen it up. It's just it's a bit tight. It'll go through. It'll go in, but it won't go all the way through, so you have to widen it up just a tad. Other than that, it's pretty self-explanatory. Stock fuel rail will work. Everything plugs in. Everything lines up except for where the mounting points go. I've seen some people try to either stagger them, you know, the piece of metal across and bolt it from the front and the back and from top. Some people have used just the Evo X manifold, but with that, I feel like there's an issue with the fuel pressure regulator. So unless you're into that, they know how to mess with it. It would basically be on this end of the intake fuel rail. So the stock one will work. I would just stick with the stock one. You'll unplug it from here to get that going. You pinch it and then pull it off. This bit, I suggest you buy. It's the forget the part name, but it's on the Evo X, on the intake manifold. If you Google it, you'll be able to find it. It's worth it just because it has funky bends in it. You could put a piece of 5/8, you know, fuel hose, but when I had it, I felt like it would pinch halfway through because of the shape, and I felt like that would affect the vacuum. So I decided against it, trying to keep it as close to what original should be. Here's your map sensor. On the stock one, it only comes with one bolt, and as you can see on the Evo, it has two. If you get a manifold that has the bolt, keep it. Sometimes when you buy these manifolds, they don't come with any bolts. Like all of these little bolts here that I put on, those are more for you know, decorative, to cover in holes. A lot of times you get them and it's just the bare minimum. This bit right here too, I believe it's 3/8. Oh, I'm sorry, what do we got here? Or an M12 by a 1.5 thread pitch. You're gonna want to cap that off. Use a washer if it comes with it. If not, I believe a 3/8. You can go to auto store and get a 3/8 drain plug, and it might be about this. It might work. You're gonna want to cap off this air vacuum line, and there's a small one right here. You don't need these. You will need this bit. Now, how you wire them is completely up to you. How you put them in. I've seen some people where they've put this bit over here and vice versa, or they swap these two. It really doesn't matter. I went the most easiest route and didn't want to cut any of my stock hoses in case I had to swap back. I'm trying to keep this also as, you know, reversible as possible. You will need to bend your dipstick, however, if you can see or not. But it will have a, instead of going straight up, it will have a slight bend now. One thing to keep in mind when you are doing this is that underneath all this, right down here, is going to be your starter. That manifold is going to come really close, within millimeters of touching it. So make sure you disconnect your battery during the install. Other than that, it is all pretty plug and play, pretty simple. With this bit, there is no gasket to use. I tried two different things. I had tried 3M tape to give it a seal, but also give it some sort of gasketing. That didn't work. What ended up happening is the tape started slowly pulling through and opening a hole, therefore setting off check engine light for too much air inside the manifold. What works is a good bit of silicone bead all the way around it, and then just tighten her down, and she's been doing fine ever since. So other than that, everything here is pretty much explanatory. You're just gonna plug in all with your hose clamps, all your vacuum lines. Like I said, there's only gonna be the two that are gonna be capped off, and this bowl right here. That takes care of that. As far as everything else, you're probably gonna need to get a new intake, air intake pipe. Now, since I relocated my battery to the trunk, I can run cold air and go all the way through to the firewall. And the filter's down in here, nicely tucked in the front bumper. I had cut out my grills here to allow air to flow in, so it creates a nice little trap. It's behind the tire, and the splash guard keeps the air in. So, noticeable improvements. If you go this route, I also did this as well, as I had a piece of rubber lying around. I laid that on top of the heater hose, the radiator hose, just so I can keep it from, keeping the pipe getting hot. This bit is completely optional to you. It's up to you. Some people can leave it off, and I've left it off and hasn't thrown any check engine lights. But same thing too. I just lobbed some silicone on here, give it a good seal. Just buy some PVC pipes just to extend the bit here, and it's been holding up as well. But other than that, it's not that hard of a project. It's intimidating. I will admit, I've had many days where I had thought it wouldn't work, but we made it work. And you'll love the sound. You'll love the improvement. Throttle response could be a little better, but I believe if you have a pedal commander or a sprint booster, those kind of eliminate that problem. But if you port and polish, or at least polish your throttle body, it'll give you a little extra something as well. If you have any questions, just let me know. For the most part, there's your Evo X manifold on your JS Chrysler 200.